My girlfriend said she needed space. Then I found out the real reason. I never thought I would end up telling strangers on the internet about my relationship, but the last few months have been so confusing, painful, and honestly unbelievable that I don't know how else to process it. I had been dating my girlfriend Maya for almost 3 years. The first 2 years were great. We were best friends, partners, everything. 6 months ago, she moved to another city for her new job. It wasn't too far, but far enough that we couldn't see each other every week. We agreed to keep the relationship strong. We promised to communicate more, to be honest, to make the distance worth it. At least that was the plan. Slowly, things started changing, not suddenly. Slowly, like a light that keeps dimming until you don't realize you're sitting in the dark. Maya used to call me every night. Even 5 minutes was enough for her, but over time the calls became shorter, then skipped, then replaced with texts like, "Long day, can we talk tomorrow?" or "So tired, good night." I tried to understand. New job, new environment, stress, it made sense. But something felt different. The tone of her messages, the way she avoided video calls, the way she never wanted to show me her room on camera anymore. I didn't want to be the insecure boyfriend, so I stayed quiet. One night, out of nowhere, Maya said she needed space. She said everything felt overwhelming. Work was stressful, and she needed time to breathe. I asked if I did something wrong. She said no. She said she still loved me, but just needed time alone. I agreed. I wanted to respect her boundaries, so I gave her space, but space turned into silence. Our conversations went from daily to every few days. I stopped getting good morning texts. She barely asked about my day. Sometimes she viewed my messages, but didn't respond for hours. I kept telling myself, she's just stressed, don't assume the worst. 2 weeks later, something strange happened. Her best friend, Aisha, accidentally sent me a photo. It was a picture of a group dinner, a table full of people, laughing, holding drinks. In the corner of the picture, I saw Maya. She looked happy, genuinely happy. Next to her was a guy I had never seen before. He was leaning close to her, and she wasn't moving away. Their shoulders were touching. I asked Aisha about the picture. She instantly deleted it and said, "Ignore that. I sent it by mistake. That was it." No explanation, nothing. My stomach dropped, but I kept quiet. I didn't want to jump to conclusions. A few days later, Maya canceled our scheduled call again. She said she was exhausted from work and was going to sleep early. But about an hour later, she posted a story, a boomerang, her holding a drink, in a restaurant, laughing. She forgot I could see it. I didn't say anything. I wanted to hear her side first. The next day, she acted normal, like nothing happened. But the real turning point came when she told me she would be busy all weekend. No details, no plans, just busy. That same night, I got a notification on my phone. One of my friends had spotted Maya in the city. He sent me a picture, just to tease him, saying, "Look who I ran into." There she was, walking down the street, with the same guy from the dinner photo. They were side by side. Laugh. He was carrying her bag. She was texting someone, probably me, saying she was busy. My hands literally went numb. I didn't confront her right away. I wanted to talk in person. So the next morning, I drove to her city without telling her. When I reached her apartment building, I saw a car parked outside. His car, the same one from the picture. My chest tightened. I waited. After 20 minutes, I saw her walking out of the building. With him, she got into his car. He opened the door for her. She didn't even check her phone once. She wasn't busy. She wasn't tired. She wasn't overwhelmed. She was with him. I followed them, not to spy, but because I needed to see the truth with my own eyes. They went to a cafe, sat close, shared a dessert. He touched her hand across the table, and she didn't pull away. That was enough. I walked inside. Maya looked up and froze. Her smile disappeared instantly. "Why are you here?" she asked, like I was the one who did something wrong. I told her I needed to talk. She stepped outside with me while he stayed inside, pretending not to stare. I asked her one simple question. "Are you seeing him?" She didn't answer. She didn't deny it. She didn't explain anything. She just said, "I didn't want to hurt you." Those words shattered me, because the truth was clear. She didn't need space. She needed distance from me so she could get closer to it. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said, "You should have been honest." He tried to hold my hand, but I stepped back. For the first time in months, I chose myself. I walked away without looking back. Later that night, she sent me a long message about how she never meant for this to happen, how she was confused, and how she still cares about me. I didn't respond because I finally realized something. Love isn't supposed to feel like you're begging for attention. It isn't supposed to feel like a puzzle. It isn't supposed to make you question your own worth. Sometimes the person you're fighting for is the one slowly walking away from you, and letting them go is the only way to save yourself. I found out my long-distance boyfriend wasn't alone that night. I never imagined I'd be someone sharing my personal life online, but the last few months have left me with more questions than answers, and maybe saying it out loud will help me understand where everything went wrong. My boyfriend, Liam, and I had been in a long-distance relationship for almost 2 years. We met during an internship abroad and connected effortlessly. When we went back to our own countries, we promised we would make things work, and for a while, we really did. We had nightly calls, weekend movie dates over video chat, surprise gifts, all the cute long-distance couple stuff. But slowly, things began to change. It started with the smallest things. Liam used to call me every night before bed. It wasn't something we planned. It just became our routine. But one night he texted, "I'm exhausted today. I'll call tomorrow." I didn't think much of it. Everyone gets tired. But then it happened again, and again, and again. Soon the nightly calls disappeared completely. He started replying slower. Sometimes hours went by before I heard from him. And when I asked, he always said the same thing. "Sorry, babe. Work is crazy." Or, I fell asleep, or didn't see your message. I tried not to overthink it. Long distance is hard, and people have their off days. But a small voice inside me kept saying something was off. One weekend, he said he'd be going out with coworkers. He rarely went out. So I told him to enjoy himself. The next day, I got a message from a random girl on Instagram. I almost ignored it until I saw the preview. Hey, I think you should know about this. Attached was a picture of Liam at a bar. He was sitting close, uncomfortably close, to a girl I'd never seen before. She had her hand on his shoulder, and he was smiling, not a normal smile, but his smile. The one he used to give me. My heart sank. I asked him about it. He immediately said, "She's just a friend from work. She needed a ride home." You're reading too much into it. Maybe it was true, maybe it wasn't, but something in his tone felt different, defensive, rushed, like he was more annoyed by my question than concerned about how I felt. After that night, things only got stranger. A week later, he vanished for an entire night. No texts, no calls, no explanations. I stayed a week refreshing my messages, wondering if something happened, if he was okay, or if I did something wrong. At 4 a.m. my time, he finally texted, "Just got home. Phone died. Talk tomorrow." That was it. I didn't sleep at all. The next morning I tried calling. It rang once and went to voicemail. Nothing unusual, except this time, the voicemail greeting had something different in the background. A girl laughing, and then his voice saying, "Hang on, babe, I'm recording." I froze. He had never called anyone else babe. That was our thing. When he finally picked up later, I asked him calmly if there was anything he wanted to tell me. He acted confused, pretended he had no idea what I was talking about. When I brought up the voicemail, he brushed it off, saying it was old, even though I knew he had changed to Anissa. Then I asked him something I never thought I'd have to ask. "Are you seeing someone else?" He went silent. Not the confused silence when someone is innocent, the heavy silence when someone is deciding whether to lie again or finally tell the truth. I waited. He finally said, "It's complicated." Those two words hit harder than anything, because if there's one thing relationships should never be, it's complicated. I asked him what he meant. It took almost an hour for him to talk. He told me there was a girl from his office. They had been spending time together after work. He said she liked him, and they had chemistry. But he didn't want to hurt. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know whether to cry, scream, or laugh at how absurd everything sounded. I asked him one last question. "Do you want to be with her?" Another long pause. He answered, "I don't know." I think that was the moment something inside me broke. Because if you love someone, you don't have to think about it. You don't hesitate. You don't say, "I don't know." I told him if he wasn't sure about us, there was nothing left to fix. I told him I was done. I expected him to fight for us, to say he'd messed up, to show at least a little fear of losing. Instead, he said, "Maybe it's for the best." Hearing that was like getting punched in the chest. After we ended things, the silence felt louder than anything. I kept replaying every moment in my head. The excuses, the sudden distance, the way he made me feel like I was overreacting. I kept asking myself what I did wrong. A week later, I got my answer. I opened Instagram and saw a picture of it, with her, the same girl from the bar, his arm around her, smiling like nothing ever happened. The caption said, "Right person, wrong time." That's when I laughed for the first time in days, because suddenly, everything made sense. He wasn't distant because he was stressed. He wasn't tired. He wasn't busy. He wasn't confused. He had already chosen someone else. He just didn't have the courage to tell me. It hurt. A lot. But it also gave me something I desperately needed. Clarity. I stopped blaming myself. I stopped wondering what I could have done differently. I stopped questioning whether I was too much, because the truth is, someone who is right for you will never make you feel like you're asking for too much. Since then, I've been focusing on myself, healing slowly, rebuilding the parts of me I lost while trying to hold on to someone who is already gone. I'm not fully okay yet, but I'm getting there. And for now, that's enough.